On today's ChurchTechCast.com screencast show, presentation design mistakes that pastors make. Hi, and welcome again to the ChurchTechCast.com screencast show. This is the show where every week I help you with the software that we use in the church. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. Well, today's show is going to be a little bit different, and I want to tell you why. I've just released a new course. I've got, this is the fourth of the ProPresenter courses. I've got ProPresenter Presenters course for our operators course for people that actually use ProPresenter during your church service. The ProPresenter creation course for the people that make the presentations. Might not be the same person. At my church, for example, it's not the same person. Then I've got the ProPresenter hacks, tips, and tricks course if you want to make the most out of ProPresenter. But this one is the ProPresenter pastors and teachers course. So this is kind of the bare minimum you need to do sermon notes and teaching notes for your church, whether you're just going to copy and paste stuff from your manuscript into a text document and then do it that way, or if you're going to go full on out and make it. But one of the things that I thought was, more than once I've had someone that made teaching notes for me that I had to fix, not from a content perspective, but from a design perspective. So I thought that we would take a look at the lesson that I did on that. So I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to actually do it now. I'm just going to cut over to that, and then you can see that lesson, and then I'll come back and wrap it on up. So let's head over and take a look. More than once it's happened to me that the pastor or the teacher, and sometimes these are volunteer teachers, they've wanted to be a little too helpful. So they've gone through and they've made the presentation for me. I'm a tech guy, although I did go to seminary, so I straddle both worlds. And that's a problem. So let me show you just some of the things that I've run into that you might not know are a problem unless you are into the graphic design world. First off, let's talk about this picture. You might notice it looks a little fuzzy. By contrast, let me show you the original. See how crisp and clear that is versus that one, all fuzzy. This is actually 5% the size of this one, but you can't tell. I mean, it looks like it's maybe 10% difference. Maybe this is 100% and this is 90%. No, the original is like a little corner of this that I just drug up to make it fit, and it gets all fuzzy and pixelated. So that's one of the things you need to know, what size you're dealing with if you are the one getting the pictures. You need to know what size the output resolution is. If it's 720p and you get something that's 320 by 120, that's going to be way too small. It's better to have it too big because it can be easily scaled down than too small, because you can do like 10% changes, but if you're, like in this case, making it from a 5% size image to this big, it's just going to look horrible. Another thing that I've seen pastors do is on your screen, that might look okay as you're creating it, but you forget that the background that you're going with is this guy. You see the problem? Yeah, it's not legible at all. So colors really matter. The foreground text matters with the background. you can see that sometimes as this background goes through, oh look, I can whole result, and I lost it. I can't read that. So that really matters. In general, I tell people to put light colored text over dark backgrounds because our eyes are attracted to light, and that way our eyes are attracted towards what we want people to be attracted to, in this case the sermon notes. So that's another mistake that I see. Let me go ahead and clear that completely and show you this one. Now you might think, wow, that looks pretty cool. That's kind of looks like it's like written with a stylus on parchment or something, maybe a quill pen. Oh, that'll be perfect for scripture. That's what they want you to believe. Now, this is actually a specific font called Papyrus. And in the graphic design world, there are a few fonts that are so overused, so inappropriately used, that artists steer clear of them altogether. Papyrus is one of those fonts. Once you learn to recognize Papyrus, you will start to see it everywhere. Because if a graphic designer did not do it, or if the person hiring the graphic designer refused to listen to the advice of the graphic designer, the result is the same, that Papyrus is one of the fonts that's often used. Another one is Comic Sans. Now it looks like hand-lettered words that you might see in a comic book, hence the term Comic Sans, but that's another one that's really overused. So let the people that are good at this, remember, we all have different kinds of gifts. Right there. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. So we all have different gifts. Let the people that are gifted in design do this. You handle the content, they handle the design, and together as a team, I think you'll accomplish quite a lot. Those are just a few, but be open to listening to your team, because they might know particular things that you fall victim to that you're not aware are mistakes. Maybe you don't even notice that they changed them, or maybe they want to change them, but you won't let them. Please work together as a team. Remember, we've got different gifts, and that way you can get the most out of presentation in your church. Well, I hope you found that interesting, that sometimes it's the font, sometimes it's the color choices, sometimes there are just different things that need to be tweaked that maybe you think are a good idea, but if it's not within your gifting, you just don't spend a lot of time thinking about such things. You don't go around looking at fonts, you don't go around thinking what colors go together, etc. And by just knowing about these mistakes, maybe you'll be tempted, or maybe your pastor will be tempted to instead have people to operate more within their giftings and do what they were made to do. If you like this content, head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/newsletter and subscribe to my email newsletter, and I'll send you some free ProPresenter courses that you can take and see if you can take your ProPresenter knowledge to the next level, along with some other stuff, including a couple of my books. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with trinitydigitalmedia.com. Go out and change eternity.